How's this for a pair of legends? Both Toyota Land Cruisers, both beige, four-wheel drives, bull bars, lights, winches, but how different are they really? The real differences lie in the age of the vehicles. So 1974 till 1984, this is what you got. Everything was built a little bit lighter. Everything is thin, spindly. Look at the tyres, look at the suspension, which leads to probably the biggest single difference between these two in how they perform on the road and off. This one's got a coil sprung beam axle in the front, and this has got a leaf sprung beam axle. Being lighter, this car may weigh around 2.5 tonne. This one here is probably around about 3.1. So one's big and heavy, one's old and skinny. Which one's better in the bush? They actually perform very, very similar. Now this big girl has a 4.5 litre V8 diesel with a turbocharger. Whereas when this one came out, it was a 4 litre petrol. Bit thirsty and a little bit doughy up high in the revs. So what a lot of people did, they put a Holden V8. So the other major difference, and to me, it's the biggie, is this is computers everywhere. This truck here has absolutely nothing. It's all up to your fingers and your toes. So what happens when we actually select low range? Well, we get in this big girl here and it can virtually go anywhere. It's got lockers, got heaps of ground clearance underneath it. And the only great failing with these old 45s is the U-bolt saddle underneath the springs. It's very, very easy to bog yourself when you hit a rock, a log, or just sink yourself in mud, and that's the end of them. But in terms of climbing ability, they're both probably pretty similar. Low range first in that is extremely low. The 6-cylinder petrol was very torquey, and the 253 in it at the moment is not bad either. Whereas that's the ultimate crawling machine. Pull the hand throttle on a little bit if you want and virtually go anywhere. Great thing about this old car is when you're actually sitting in it, you've got the steering wheel right in front of you. You can see all the corners of the car and it's just so narrow and tidy, you know exactly where the wheels are. When we get in this big one here, there's an expansive bonnet with an intercooler lump in the front and you're not exactly sure how far out your front wheels are, and they are certainly a lot wider than this one. Now what about highway comfort? Well, I've got to tell you, I've done a few long distance trips in these 45s. The modern car is quieter, smoother, softer, more comfortable. It's got air conditioning. This one's got cruise control. So it's a matter of sit there, steer and enjoy the view. Whereas this one, there's a certain amount of fighting to keep it on the straight and narrow. So which one wins? Well, I'm going to leave that up to you to make that decision. But for me, I'm pretty happy with both. You can put ARB gear all over them. If you're going to drive a long way, this one's going to get the edge, I reckon. If you're like me and you're not too far away from the bush, the mountains and the paddocks, you can jump in and go. So I reckon I'll stick with this old girl.